when an unexpected calendar appointment pops up for a 7-minute meeting with your coach, you know it's time to look at your own league and all league. LOYG. What's the go? Look at league. Thank you very much for joining us again. That's another week of footy. Fellas, there's Dave and there's Ben. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Stu. Hello, Dave.
Hello, guys. Great to be here.
Oh, we had a pretty... look, I'm going to come... Here's a tepid take right off the bat.
Whoa.
It was a pretty shit round of rugby league we had.
Yeah.
It wasn't much... The games were not the best. But that's Origin footy, right?
I get that the television deal needs rounds of football and blah, blah, blah. As a footy fan, though, would you rather a rep round than having broken half-ass rounds?
Yeah, I would definitely... The more... Each year, I more and more want that Origin gap in the middle of the year. Like, there's so much you could fill it with. Fill it with, like, a nines competition, maybe, that you just don't, like, put your fringies in. You don't have to put your best players in.
The Phillips
Fill it
Cup?
with something.
The Phillips Cup? Something like that?
What, filling up the schedule?
Well, yeah, that's right.
Is that what you mean?
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Like a knockout comp?
Anything. Anything that's, like, the broadcasters are still getting league, but the competition has a break and we don't have to have subpar rounds.
Or why doesn't the Women's League fill in Origin rounds?
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Anything. Like, I'm sure there are any number of different ways to bottle that egg. But it just doesn't work at the moment. And you just now... have you noticed this year the coaches are whinging more and more? Like... this year is the worst year for coaches whinging about missing players in Origin.
I think the draw's the worst it's ever been, though, for the team. Yeah, short turnarounds. Like Ivan Cleary's one. And on social media, a lot of the fans from other clubs are like, oh, you've got your 4 premierships. You don't get to whinge. I think the talk about I can't have my Origin players go from Perth and then play in Auckland a couple of days later.
Yeah.
The next part of that is another 4 days later they've got to play in Sydney against the Bulldogs.
Yeah. That'd almost be like sending him to Madagascar, wouldn't it? Sending him from Perth to Auckland.
Why? But it's easy. The easy fix is Panthers don't have a home stadium this year. They can play the next weekend from Perth.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just host? It's a pretty easy fix.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's a really good idea, Dave.
Not a ton of logic going on in the draw, I think. A couple of news things going on this week. Before I do that, can I just shout out? They don't need my shout out. They're much bigger than us. But the Hello Sport podcast. Do you guys have you ever listened to that?
I do. What have I missed? What's happened?
So they, like everybody else who's ever followed league, are hugely reverent to Joey Johns, and they finally got him on for an interview. I listened to it. It's a great listen. And Joey's just Joey. He's just casual as, but just emanates wisdom and energy. It's a good listen.
The video footage of that interview, which I have seen, yeah, he's absolutely relaxed. He is most definitely relaxed, and some of his commentary is spot on.
Yeah, but it's not like you're not getting Channel 9 Joey. You're getting a bit more casual Joey. So yeah, check that out after listening to this. But you're listening to this now, so you're not going to stop, probably, hopefully. What about the New South Wales government saying no to bunnies coming to Allianz Stadium? That's gotta hurt bunnies fans, right?
I read the other part today that I can't remember his name, the CEO that signed the deal for him to play out of the big stadium. He knew that in that deal and in that time period there was no plans to upgrade or update the facilities. He signed that.
Yeah, and did you see the images of the bunnies section of the crowd last Sunday.
Oh, the Burrow.
The Burrow. It looked very sad.
Oh.
I feel sorry for South fans having to go out there for home games, bud, right?
I feel sorry for any fans having to go out there for home games. Apart from the one game that they opened up the entire stadium, which was spectacular. Like that was a tremendous decision, and it it came off very well, but not when there's 17 people in the crowd.
Yeah, I think you like that news if you're a Roosters fan. Yeah, stiff shit if you're a Bunnies fan, I think, unfortunately. It's just weird for a South Sydney team to be playing out of home.
Western Sydney.
Yeah, anyway. Manly imploding with Siebes holding 7-minute meetings with each player to hand them a document of all the things that he's not liking about how they're playing. Did you guys see this story today?
Do you think it was a two-way conversation?
No. How much can you say in 7 minutes? 7-minute meetings.
It's a one-way conversation.
Yeah, is Seabolt a really fast talker?
He does not look like a fast talker.
No.
You can't get anything done in the 7-minute meeting other than hand out a sheet of paper of how you've disappointed me. That's basically it. Right?
Count the ways.
May as well be Frank Costanza in there, airing his gripes and grievances. But Manly are gonna, I don't know. It does feel like an implosion, or is that just me? Tommy's busted as.
Watching him last week was sad.
Yeah. Put him out of his misery. If he was a horse, you'd shoot him, right?
Yes. Or to put him in the centres.
Same deal.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you call that early on, Stu?
Did I call it?
With Cherry's negotiations being all funky? Did you say
Yeah,
Manly's on the dive?
I put money on him for Wooden Spoon, and when they were at $100 or something after maybe a month or so ago.
Did you actually put money on them?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's the best bet of the year.
Titans, Knights, and Eels are going to have to go pretty spectacularly for Manly to get down there, but I have faith in my Titans at the very least.
We've got to talk about that.
More on that later. Okay, it's Origin time. And we always look for some drama leading up to Origin. Who's providing it? Aaron Woods.
Of course.
Calling Billy Slater a grub. So that's kind of divided people. Obviously a lot of Queenslanders, surprisingly, are going, well, bloody Aaron Woods, who's he to be talking about Billy? Billy's not a grub, all this sort of stuff. And then you got New South Welshmen on social media putting up all news articles about the times that Billy's been a grub. Including the one where, let me get this round the right way. So today, Billy's come out and responded to the grub claims, basically guilt-tripping, saying, you don't know what people are going through to be calling people out personally for things like that. I can take it, but the next person might not be able to take it. And then made reference to Paul Green, who took his own life through depression, which I gotta say, I think's pretty low.
That is a bridge too far, really.
I do understand the point he was trying to make, but you don't say, you don't need to, it's too far. It's too much. And also not really analogous.
No.
I think, not...
You think it's part of the theatre of Origin build-up? Obviously, I think that was the tone you would have taken Woodsy's comment in. Same as, what was Gallen's two heads and...
Yeah.
That sort of... I think it was in that sort of tone, not personal slander and where Billy's taken it.
There's no denying that Slater, some of the time, played in a grubby way. Always knees and feet into people.
Mm-hmm.
He's going on about depression and mental health today, and straight away people are putting up articles on social media from the time that there was a Newcastle player who came out and said they had depression, and Billy sledged him on the field saying he should go back to the sheds and start crying or something like that. So, I mean, we can all grow and better ourselves and look back on how we've acted in the past and, you know, be a bit unhappy with how we've acted in the past. But there was no acknowledgement of that from Billy. There was just, you know, anyway. Drama before Origin. It's good. Sort of.
It is. It's a cracking story that would have been fine if it was just the grub comment into Aaron Woods is hopeless. Into
hey, let's just stick to Aaron Woods is crap rather than bring Paul Green in.
Exactly. I'm absolutely fine with them talking about how crap Aaron Woods was. Right? And
missing the try celebration, flying over the top, looking like a dick.
Just keep replaying that.
Just keep going on with that one.
But yeah, I would agree, Stu. I think bringing in Paul Green into commentary around what's going on is just, it's too much for me.
Yeah. Anything there, Dave?
I'm normally not the biggest Gordon Tallis fan as far as his commentary goes. Did you see what he said through the week? I actually bought a bit of it. I thought it was kind of funny. The way that he said that Aaron, well, how many clubs did he play for? He spent the last few years of his career in reserve grade, and that's the level I thought was appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, that's the second zinger that Tallis has had this week. He goes months without saying anything of any value. And then this week he said another thing about the Flanagans, saying that basically it's going to either be Kyle's job or Shane's, and Shane's got to pick which one it is. Oh, that was a great comment.
Great call.
So now, like, we're talking about commentators that don't say much. When's it's Blocker's turn? When is it Blocker's turn to say something?
I took you too literally there. Just commentator, just silent the whole game. Well, he says a lot. Usually players' names completely wrong. That's usually what he says. I don't know.
When's he going to say something good? That's all I'm asking.
Listeners, send in your thoughts. We need them. But back to State of Origin. How are you feeling, fellas? What do we think?
It was interesting to see the market shifted back in Queensland's favour with Moses ruled out and Luai coming in.
I don't get that.
Moses is like a pretty freakish talent, but you think that the combination with Cleary kind of balances that out with Luai coming in?
That's what I think, yes. I'm
not less excited or less confident for the Blues, so
no.
I'm so pumped.
Yeah, I don't think... I think, obviously, Moses and Luai are different players, but talent level, pretty much similar. They bring different things, but both of those things are useful. Yeah. So instead of it just being one kind of style, it'll be something slightly different, but equally reliable, I think.
I think with the Blues are fit and nothing goes wrong, injuries or sin bins or whatever in the game, I think they should win, and I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Yes.
That's the understatement of the day, Dave. I'm also very much looking forward to tomorrow night, and I think we'll win by plenty.
Any tepid takes on something that might happen that, you know?
I think in the first 10 minutes, a Queensland forward will take off the head of a New South Welshman.
Yeah.
Or attempt to. At least attempt to. Like there'll be a really heightened amount of aggression in the first sort of 5 to 10 minutes, and someone, if not a couple of people, will go really high.
Okay, that's interesting because I felt like this is one of the least aggressive Queensland sides we've ever seen. So you think that they're going to have enough rocket up them to knock a block off?
They're going to be redlining to the point where danger zone. Yep.
And so who's that going to be?
Brian Toto's headgear will go flying into the third row of...
Who's that person going to be for Queensland? It's not going to be Paddy.
Tino.
No, he's on the bench.
Tino or Collins, maybe.
I think it'll be Tino. Tino will hit someone with his shoulder because that's just what he does.
Yeah. And the arm will follow in just enough time, often.
Origin time.
Yeah. in an appropriate origin length of time. Yeah. All right. Shall we... Anything from you, Dave? Tell us a moment that you think might happen.
I think, pretty much echoing what Ben said, I think the Queensland's going to come out at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I think the first 20 minutes, they're going to give it everything and they're going to burn out.
Yeah.
Blues will come over the top in a big way, especially in the second half. That's my take in this game.
Does Dearden...
Billy's last series.
It's starting to feel like it, isn't it? Does Dearden change enough?
No. I don't think their kicking game has got enough in it to really pin us down in our half. I think the New South Wales kicking game is much stronger than the Queensland kicking game, even without Moses.
Yeah, I think Dearden's going to probably have a better shout of putting Hammer into space, which is probably a bit scarier.
What about Ponga? Can he unlock a bit? Is he going to fire up at all?
When's the last time we saw it?
I honestly don't know.
It's been months.
Yeah, it has been, hasn't it? Has it been this year?
First 4 rounds of the Knights looked okay.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Fair enough. All right, what about predictions then?
New South Wales 13+.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blues 30-6.
Is that even getting you anything worth having a tickle at 13+ for Blues?
Maybe $1.70, I think, something like that.
Is it?
All right. Okay. Sorry. I for a bit of value, just to ride on the back of what Dave said, I would say Queensland first half, New South Wales full time.
Oh, well, that backs up your knocking blocks off, maybe, unless someone gets sent.
That's the only issue, right? Someone gets sent, or someone gets 10. If someone gets 10 from Queensland, then New South Wales could put 2 tries on them in that period of time.
Right. So New South Wales 1 to 12 is 280 currently, 13+ 260. So
okay,
much of muchness. Give me an ATS then, fellas.
I'm going to say Hammer.
Yeah. How about Cleary for me?
All right. Cleary, yeah. I might say Luai, proving a point. I won you the series last year. What, you left me out of game 1? Fair dinks, fellas. Kind of gear. Him and Crichton with the boombox back together again.
And To'o.
Yeah. I kind of always imagine those guys with the boombox looking cool, and then Dill and Yo in the background trying to stick their heads in, going, "Oh yeah, this is pretty good, eh, fellas?
Who are you listening to?
What do you call this one?" I don't know why they're teenagers all of a sudden, but they are.
They're just waiting for some Garth Brooks.
Yes. All right, I'm going to say New South Wales 26-10. And with some bombed chances where it could have blown out further.
Hang on, are we talking about game 1 or game 2?
Oh, was 26-10 game 1?
I don't know, but it sounds very familiar.
It does, doesn't it? I should check that. Talk amongst yourselves.
18-6, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, something like that.
Because we didn't kick a goal.
Didn't kick any of the goals.
All right. Well, that's Origin. The world. It's a weird place. My name is Stuart Buckland, and some guests and I are going to look at all the weird stuff that happens in this world of ours. Is that suitably vague enough for you? Bit weird, but fair enough, I guess. Find this podcast wherever you listen to other podcasts. And now, let's review a shitty round of League. Although the first game, Ben, that first game, Sharks v Dragons of this round, sure was a roller coaster for you and I, wasn't it, friend?
I've got something to say about this game.
Yeah.
Well, before you do, should I run through the tone of our messages?
Yes, please.
All right, let me go back and find that. So, obviously, anyone listening for the first time, Ben and I are Sharks fans. And we were not happy with how the game was going on the weekend. I'm feeling, because I can't find them.
You could talk about the first half, or you could talk about the second half.
I was just trying to get a vibe of the solution of the situation here. So, it started off. I think Sharks went all right in the first few minutes, didn't we?
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Yep.
First try in the first 10 minutes.
Couple of comments about Ronaldo. He's special. Ben, something must have happened. Ben comes in with, that's atrocious. I've come in with, well, we look good for 15 minutes anyway. Next message, Ben.
It was the
can't watch this.
It was the Damien Cook try. That's what it was. It was the Damien Cook try where he just ran around 17 people, jumped in the crowd, palmed off a couple of Shark supporters in the crowd as well, jumped back onto the field, tripped the ref, then just ran through the entire side again.
That's right. And Ben said, I can't watch this. I said, good thing there's cricket on. But obviously we both couldn't tear our eyes away because we were back in there. Ben, again, I can't watch this. Stu, the axe is about to fall. No, I don't think the axe will ever fall, ever. I don't think there's an axe. And so on and so forth. So, yeah, I want to have more faith in the Sharks. They're not giving us much. They won. Why can't they be convincing?
Yeah, it was. Just to add to that description that you just gave us, Stu, after Nico Hines dropped the ball under the posts on the first tackle, I think it was, in a set, we gave away a penalty. No, sorry, the Dragons made a break. We then held them down on the halfway line, gave away a penalty, and then they scored in the next set. That is where I actually turned the television off and was one of those parents that got really shirty at his kids. It was only about 6 seconds until I caught myself and went, what am I doing? What am I doing? And then
you're on the wrong podcast here.
Well, that's exactly right. That's
problem.
And so I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it until the last 5 minutes.
Oh, you missed out on so much.
I know. Yeah. And I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I was so frustrated. I was so very frustrated with them as a football team. And, I need to go to therapy.
Did you... But let's leave how upsetting the Sharks are to one side for a sec and focus on ourselves.
Mm.
Did you feel shame like I did? Like, we're meant to ride or die, right? We're meant to follow these teams no matter what's going on. And I found myself, like you, I switched over to watching cricket, and after a while, I just went, I just wonder what, then checked the score and went, oh, maybe I will flick it back over and see what's going on. That's pretty shameful, right? Dave, you can call us out.
I went through a lot of dark times as a Panthers fan. Spoon City never missed a minute of any game.
Yeah, see? He's a real one. What are we, Ben?
I'm pissed off. That's what I am. So Dave, I understand your point there, but what I will say is that at no stage did any of those teams go into the season as a top 2 or top 3 favourite to win the title.
I know, and I know that's a difference. Like every footy fan goes, maybe we can defy all odds. Maybe, and then you go, no, not this year. Well, but then what you've come into is exactly that. It's like the last 3 years have built to this year. This is the year.
Yeah.
And then they dish up what they did in that first half against an under-strength Dragon side, and you're like, what is this?
We got a Dalian winning halfback. We've got one of probably the top 3 props in the game.
Mm-hmm. A hooker
got a great
that
squad.
is in incredible form now that he's finally running. They finally listened to you, Stu. They've let him off the leash.
Yeah. And yeah, it still doesn't work.
What's the missing piece?
I know what it is, and somebody said it today. I keep referencing Bloke in a Bar podcast, but SC Playbook summed it up perfectly today.
Mm.
There's no dog in the Sharks. Apart from Mulatalo and maybe AFB if someone...
At times,
if someone annoys him. There's no one else with any mongrel in that side.
Oh, look, I would say Ramian... Is it mongrel or is it just like goose?
What?
Like, is there mongrel in him or is he just a goose? Like, and he's just sort of...
Ramian?
Yeah, Ramian.
I don't think he's got any mongrel. I just, like, I don't know what he's got this year, I'll be perfectly frank. But do you know what I mean? Like, getting down and dirty, grinding people out, niggling people into, like, stupid errors. Mulatalo's the only one that does that on a side. Everyone's too nice. That's basically how he summed it up. Our side is too nice.
You need to bring in Ennis and Josh Reynolds in as a consultants firm. And bring
Gallen.
in.
And bring Gallen.
That's what I said, like...
Hang on, Gallen is your ex-captain legend. How?
That's right.
How is it evaporated so quickly?
It has, though. Like,
you're right.
Gallen, Wade Graham, Andrew Fafita, all these guys.
Yeah.
James Maloney when he was there. Like, you know. Now there's not that. We've got Nico, who's the nicest man in the world, and everyone else seems a little kind of... Will Kennedy, has he ever spoken a word in his life?
Well,
I don't know.
The coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So
strong, silent type.
I don't know. What do you think about that take? I heard it and just kind of felt like an epiphany. That's what the missing thing is from this side.
Well, yeah. Yeah, even your scariest looking dude, Rudolph, in his spare time and in those photo shoots he does, it's like that's not the angry man you want leading the pack, is it?
Not the mongrel we're looking for.
No.
Yeah, social media, I guess, is a problem because, you know, you go check out the pack you're facing this week, and if they're, you know, doing TikTok dances and shit, you're going, all right, I'm not too worried about them. Anyway.
Good to have Sione Katoa back.
Great. He ran hard, played well. And look, the only thing that saved us was the crapness of the Dragons. So
5 stars.
Another team that's kind of started hot and then just is slipping.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They can only hold the rage for so long with what they've got.
Yeah, Ben, what do you think? What do you think about the Dragons from what you saw?
Well, from what I saw, they were probably premiership favourites. It's those things like Cook was really good. Cook was exceptional, and when he gets that little bit of space, like we know how quick he is and how electric he is.
Yes,
but Flanagan's got to go. But who do you bring in? Yeah, Kyle's got to go. Their forward pack isn't bad. They're just a bit bland.
Their reserve grade team is on a tear. They've won so many games in a row. Elias and I can't remember the other
6.
half. Yeah. Then, talk about you get sent down to reserve grade to prove yourself and get your form back. Well, they've done it.
So the problem for Kyle Flanagan is that he'd be perfect 14 if they didn't already have Little there who was killing it.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately for Kyle, he can't run a team, it seems. And if you go listen to that Joey podcast, that Hello Sport Joey podcast, he will tell you what the problem is with a lot of halfbacks at the moment. And Kyle Flanagan does it, not straightening up attack and not digging far enough into the line before playmaking. You got to do it, otherwise you're not doing your job as a halfback.
Great point.
Pretty much.
Joey and Stu.
Well, I heard someone else say it and I agreed with it, and then I said it.
Exactly.
And when I say I heard someone else say it, possibly the greatest halfback that will ever be. So, I thought, you know what? I'm smart enough to listen to this man.
Sorry, just before we move on from talking about Joey again, one of the points that I did hear in that podcast was they asked him, "Have you ever did you actually dominate in Origin?"
Yeah,
and his response was, "Played 12 games at Suncorp.
At Suncorp,
110, and one was a draw." Yeah, only ever lost once in Origin at Suncorp.
Which sounds like an unbelievable stat.
That is made up. It has to be made up, but it's true.
I mean, I'm not going to go check it because I believe the go, but, Anyway, all right, our tips. Dave and I both had Sharks by 20, which was on the right track, but not quite. Well, would have been on the right track if the game was another 20 minutes on top, maybe. Ben, you had Sharks minus 17.5, with the final score being 30-18. No. What about this next game, fellas? Let's talk about this next game.
You've been building to this one for weeks.
Sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah. Okay.
It's
simple.
Yeah.
Play a proper halfback in your halves.
And
what happened? Hey, what happened? We saw what happened. They played really well. AJ Brimson in his proper spot. Yeah. Jaden Campbell with an experienced half. They played really well.
They did.
That try Loffy scored where he just ran straight back through the middle.
Yeah, so fast.
Was crazy. That was just so fantastic. And without Tino, right?
Without Tino, without Fafita, that's how much of their salary cap?
Yeah, well, exactly. Let's turn our cameras off, maybe, for the bandwidth, shall we?
Gotcha.
I'll turn yours off, Ben. There you go. So yeah, no Tino, and there's some bizarre stat where the Titans actually have a much better win record without Tino in the side than we.
Well, it's still terrible, but it is better. Yeah.
But that's attitude, right? That means when Tino's there, everyone else relaxes.
Yep.
So why can't they just go, right, let's pretend he's not here?
But how many coaches have they gone through to fix the mindset of the squad?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they shouldn't have got rid of Holbrook, though. No. He was on the edge of the 8.
Yeah. And they haven't improved in the coach's sense, right?
No. Yes, I love it. I'm very impressed. And not just because I keep tipping him. It was just, there's something about, I like watching the Titans play, and I also like watching Manly be awful.
Well, you're getting plenty of that.
Yeah.
Garrick looked good for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Go, Ben. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if DCE will ever come back from where he's at now. Like, he's old. He doesn't. Does he have time to turn form around? And if he can even turn it around at all?
I don't think he's going to get his golden contract elsewhere.
But weren't we all convinced that he'd already signed one?
If it hadn't been registered, though.
Oh.
Would Uncle Nick be that dastardly? Yes, he would.
And there's something beautiful about pulling a DCE on DCE.
Backflip.
So I had Titans by 6. Ben had Titans with the start, which I don't remember what it is.
I'm sure they covered it.
I'm sure they covered it. And you had Manly friend, unfortunately.
I was so confident in Manly last weekend.
Yes.
Oh, well.
For anyone listening, Ben's now dropped out, unfortunately. He's having computer issues. But before he left, he said that I was really smart for backing the Titans and that he'll listen to all my tips and respect me a lot. Next game was Knights and Roosters. Heartbreaking for the Knights. 12-8. Roosters got that one with a good old-fashioned forearm try.
I actually really enjoyed this match.
It was good. It was good.
It was the only quality match of the round for me.
Jackson Hastings played all right, didn't he?
Yeah. The Knights had structure. Who would have thunked it?
Oh, man.
It's like you say, you put a halfback in a team, they get structure.
And Jack Cogger's game lifted with
so
Hastings
much.
there.
It's his best game of the year by a long way.
Cogger's becoming a specialist of, like, I'll just play well if there's a decent halfback near me. You know what I mean?
Well, Panthers Grand Final style.
Yeah.
What's his name? Fogarty from the Roosters, the prop that scored that tearaway try.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't watch many Roosters games at all, but she was cheering for that try. She I don't think she even realised he was a prop.
Ah, right. Oh,
what
a step.
The step, left foot step. The commentary I had on had shades of Fittler, and it was great.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Wong try though. I think that was the Wong call. It was a knock on for me.
Dave, it's a
horrible
almost
pun.
A sin bin. It's almost a bin. Bidding.
Yeah, I know.
So I think it's. I don't think. I mean, technically, it's a try because you just put downward pressure and forearm counts.
It does. But he touched it with his hand before that, which means it's a knock on.
But I haven't gone back and looked, but I've read that apparently he was held back earlier.
So penalty try anyway then.
So I guess it evens it all out.
Yeah. Knights only scored one try in the third minute.
Yeah.
So their defence is great. Their attack is shite.
Yeah, I don't think you can feel too hard done by losing a game if you spend 77 minutes not scoring.
Exactly. But, man, I think I said it last week. I take back everything I said about Robinson. He's blooded all these kids this year, and that Roosters squad, when they get their stars back, or whoever they recruit for 26, they're going to be a power again.
Well, what do they need? Because they've got Robson coming.
They don't need Cherry Evans.
Maybe they need another prop or just maybe a prop. Because they haven't really... Like, Naful White's playing really well. Lindsay Collins is obviously there.
You know what? I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Victor Radley. I think he's going to have to get retired.
That's a possibility, right?
Another head knock for the poor guy.
Yeah. So maybe...
A middle.
Maybe they're in the market for a lock then?
Yeah.
Because your second row's tied up with your...
Angus.
Wong's, Angus, and Butcher Brothers, right?
Yep.
So that's pretty well covered. Yeah, maybe just a lock or another for middle, but backs are great.
Yep.
And halves, like Sam Walker, Sandon Smith, if he stays,
Yeah.
and Savala's, like, that's
Maybe
great.
Savala's massive. He could be like Freddie style lock.
It could be, like,
Maybe, I don't know.
maybe. But sure, Connor Watson's probably the lock with Robson there, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, anyway. We somehow started talking about Roosters next year as opposed to
The round that was.
the round that was. So, bad luck to the Knights, but it is a loss. And, when everything's tallied up at the end of the year or earlier in terms of AOB keeping his job, that'll just be down as a loss.
Yep. What about this next game?
Well, before that, so I had Knights by 10. You had Knights. And Ben had Roosters by 4. Which was exactly right.
There you go. But he's not here, so it doesn't count.
I agree with that. So, there you go. It may as well be Roosters by 40 that he put there.
Yep.
Dolphins, Cowboys.
I was so wrong about this one.
58-4.
I thought the Dolphins losing all those forwards meant that they were done.
I think this year we've all been guilty of too often going, that team, I wasn't expecting that team to do so well. They're doing well. They've surely got to run out of steam now. Mm-hmm. I said it about Cowboys. Said it about the Raiders. Said it about the Wars. Said it about the Dolphins.
And there they
just
are.
keep going.
Keep going. Herbie,
Amazing.
what about...
Katoa. I'll just say it every week. He's
don't.
phenomenal.
If he was wearing the black number 6 jersey, I wouldn't be so sad. But I tell you what,
Look at
though,
it this way, Dave. Maybe like he's really breaking out as his own dude leading the team around. Maybe he wouldn't fit with Cleary nowadays.
Sure, let's go with that.
Let's go with that.
What did you think about Averillo's? Not Averillo. It was
Nicarima giving Herbie Farnsworth the ball.
Was that to keep Herbie's try-scoring record, like successive weeks going?
Yes, I believe so. But it's also like pretty disrespectful to the Cowboys, right? But also like you shouldn't like be so clear of players that you can do that.
It's pretty poor
Yeah.
from the Cows.
So yes. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. It's a shellacking.
Yeah, well, a couple of 50-plus scores in a row. Dolphins they're improving.
Yeah, as the season goes on. And I think we've all been too used to the Bennett effect.
Yep.
So we kind of have written them off either consciously or subconsciously, but they're sitting in 6th. And, who they got this week? Knights over in Perth. So, yeah, you got to think it's going to keep going.
Yep.
Bulldogs and Rabbits. Oh, sorry. So Ben had Dolphins with over 57.5 points scored in the game.
Well, that was right.
That was just the Dolphins. Yeah. I had Dolphins with just head-to-head. Not much bravery there. And you had Cowboys, which is a lot of bravery.
It was just stupidity.
You just didn't know it yet. Okay, and then, yes, Bulldogs and South. South put up a good fight here. Game delayed after 33 minutes because of lightning. That's got to put a dent in your momentum, I suppose.
Well, yeah, Dogs were up 18-0 after 15 minutes, and then they lost the remainder of the game 18-6, but the Lightning Storm didn't really help their momentum.
No. And yeah, so Bulldogs continue to get it done. Souths maybe a little hard done by.
Yeah. Dogs are looking really professional though now, aren't they?
So good. So good. And Origin players out. Like,
yeah.
What can you do? Let's have a look at the round coming up. We've got 7 games. Hopefully a little better, although first game Tigers and Raiders, that has maybe a bit of a blowout feeling about it. Luai's been named?
Yeah.
But
Back
that's
up
on
2
Friday.
days later.
That's Friday, 8 o'clock.
In Campbelltown.
In Campbelltown.
He
Thoughts,
surely
Dave?
can't. I don't think Luai will play.
I don't either, because Finau's on the bench, as well as Talon de Silva.
Right.
So, La Tufano, I mean. So,
Hudson Young's been named as well.
yeah, I suppose maybe it'll depend on what kind of minutes he gets.
Yep. I'm going to tip the Raiders though.
Let's just tip Raiders. Let's just get this done. No silliness, no faffing about. Raiders will get it done. And Ben may send us some tips. We'll see. I'll jam him in here if he does.
All right, very quickly, I would suggest that Cody Nicarima's pass to Herbie Farnworth was not in the spirit of rugby league. But anyway, my tips for this weekend.
No frills
the Raiders
tipping from you and I there, Dave.
Very boring,
18.
but, after the last couple of weeks, I need to get some runs on the board.
Need some ticks in the columns. Warriors and Panthers on Saturday. That's in Auckland, I believe.
It is. Go Media Stadium. The Panthers team named
Yep.
does not have any of the Origin boys in it.
It does not.
They're not on the extended bench.
They're not on extended either. Yeah,
no chance of playing. James Fisher-Harris gets to lead a team against the Panthers for the first time.
He does. Fisher-Harris v. Leota.
That
You've got to be
is-
looking for that.
That's the bit that I'm looking forward to.
Yes.
What I'm going to tip is Metcalf to score 20 points.
Ooh, yeah, that's not bad.
I hope the Panthers win. The Warriors have been way too good this year for that to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll put you down for a Waz into a Metcalf 20-plus points.
Yep.
The Warriors -4.5.
I'm going to say, and I know this is a little harsh, who's Casey McLean up against? Pompey?
I see where you're going there.
Pompey for a double. And Waz to win, yeah. Waz with Pompey for a double. I don't know why I'm not more brave with these. It's not like there's any financial or any other kind of punishment for getting things wrong.
It's what the listening public will think of you, Stu.
That's true. All 2 of them. Dolphins and Knights in Perth. Ponga named to back up, but he's already in Perth. So, AOB will probably make him come back to... No, I won't say that. That's nasty. I don't know anything about league. What do you think, Dave? I mean...
I've learned my lesson. The Dolphins are the real deal. They're a top 8 team, and the Knights are not. So, Dolphins by 10 plus.
Yeah, I will say 20 plus. And Ben, what do you think? Assuming that he sent us some audio.
The Dolphins by 40.
Great. And if not, they'll just sound weird and awkward. Rabbits and Storm. Rabbits at 420.
Yeah, get on
That's
that.
tasty.
I love it. Tell you why. I'll throw back to earlier when Ben was talking about a Queensland player doing something stupid. What if it's Harry Grant? If Harry Grant doesn't play for the Storm...
But also, I just think, the same thing I should have thought in game one, which is that he hasn't had that much game time. He will be gassed.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You can't tell me, like, he does have Kurt Mann on the bench for Origin who can play hooker for a bit, but they're not going to play him for very long in hooker.
No.
Grant will get a short spell at best.
But I've just realised Kalel Matangi's been the Rabbits' best player for the last month by a mile. He's out.
Yeah, he's out. Yeah.
The Storm minus 11.5.
Storm, but I'll take Rabbits with whatever the start is.
Yeah, all right. I'll take Rabbits straight up. I think they'll get it done. I think Munster. I just think Queensland are in for a pounding. I think Grant and Munster are gonna, and Coates are gonna find it hard to come back from all that.
Coates is going to do a hamstring trying to jump over Toto again.
Well, possibly. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this line quickly, which is 12.5.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, for sure. 420, 12.5. That's... Yeah, I don't get that. And it's at a core as well.
Yeah, it's all the outs for the Rabbits. They're missing everyone.
All right, and then...
This is a big one.
Big one, eh? Broncos and Sharks. Sharks $2.66 against the Broncos. Like,
What?
it is in Brisbane, but Broncos do not deserve to be $1.48 versus Sharks $2.66.
What's the Sharks' record up north like?
Not great. It's not Joey Johns-esque, I'll say that.
Mate, that first half last week was just diabolical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me have a look at your team. I think I know that Hunt's still not back for the Broncos. Karapani's on the wing for the Broncos.
Yeah. Shibasaki, the greatest goatee in the NRL, is still in there.
Sharks will win and only just. So I'll take the Sharks minus 1.5.
I'm going Sharks. I've got to. That's like Broncos have not shown enough to deserve that. So I'm going Sharks. Maybe not by much, but Sharks.
Yeah, so take whatever the start is, which is what I'll do for the Sharks.
All right, let's have a look at that. 266.
So
You'd
probably
think
be
it'd
about 8.5.
Maybe 5.5.
Oof, that's not much.
No.
I'll still
It's
take
not
it.
even converted try. Dave Sharks with start. All right. And then we've got... Sorry, my fingers are not moving fast enough. Roosters and North Queensland. That's at Allianz.
Yep. Again, too many Queenslanders in the Cowboys side, so I'll go the Roosters.
Whether they're in or out.
Whether they're
Cowboys
in or out, yep.
Who? And Roosters defy expectations. So I'm going Roosters with you, Dave.
Yep.
I will also take the Roosters in a very close one. I'll take the Roosters minus 2.5.
And then Parramatta and Gold Coast. Whoo!
Spoon Bowl. Mid-season.
Look, no, Manly got to be down there for me to...
So, do you want to get a draw so that they both move up a point?
It's not a bad shout. Well, I think they're going to go on a little run, the Titans, until Foz gets injured. So...
Inevitably.
Then, no Moses. We know what they Eels look like without Moses. So,
Yeah.
Titans for me by 12.
Yeah, you've talked me into the Titans by a bit. After No Moses is huge. So yeah.
straight up for you?
Yep.
And I'm also going to take the Titans. It's just straight up. I'll just take the Titans straight up. I think that's a great bet.
All right. And that's us, Dave, for another episode of What's a Go Look at LOYG. Ben, if you've sent us a recording, hopefully you're saying goodbye. I could chuck it in here.
Have a great week.
And Dave,
Bye, Stu. Enjoy
See
your
ya.
footy.
enjoy your Origin.
Boom.
This This is an Angry Chimp podcast.